Good evening. As typical, I'm not going to discuss every single project, but I'll be happy to answer any questions about any specific ones. Just kind of give you a general overview of what's been happening lately. So we'll take a look at the projects that are under construction, are trying to be under construction. It's been raining a little bit lately, if you haven't noticed. So this obviously has had an impact on our projects. For example, like this whole week is probably a wash. All the rain today, it's going to take several days to dry out. They're calling for rain again all day Thursday. So now next week's starting to be in jeopardy. When the temperatures only get in the 40s and it's wet, the ground doesn't dry. So it makes it difficult and limits the contractors to what they're able to actually complete and work can get done. So Highway 160 West, this project did finish up late last year. 5-lane widening all the way to the North Carolina state line. That intersection there is Zor Road. There is a traffic signal there. So this project, it actually, we were able to come in about $1 million under what the contract bid price was. So that money will just trickle down to other Pennies 3 projects. But I think this project turned out really well. Had, considering all things, minimal issues during construction. Contractor did a good job on this one. Highway 274 pole branch currently under construction. So this is the new half of the new bridge over on 274 over Mill Creek. So traffic's been shifted to the new bridge. You can see they torn down the old bridge, and I think they were actually pouring some drill shafts this morning out there. So that construction on that bridge is continuing. This is looking down Pole Branch Road from the intersection of 274. This is a section that was closed for quite some time and opened up last fall. You see the curb and gutter sidewalk, everything's been built except for the final layer of asphalt in that section of Pole Branch Road. Further down Pole Branch, going closer towards North Carolina, there is another bridge on the project you can see there. Traffic's been shifted to avoid this bridge, so the bridge can be built without impacting existing traffic. So you can see the progress coming along there. Gold Hill I77 Exit 88 project. You can see the bridge deck has been poured. Again, this one is kind of struggling with activities that the contractor can do. They're trying to get started on some curb and gutter and sidewalk if and when the weather will allow them to do that. This is just another view. You can see the bridge has been widened there over I77. And again, progress is being made slowly but surely, but probably March or April before they can really start moving some dirt out there. US 321 Barrett Connector Road. So this is a new road connecting Barrett Road to US 321. This project is complete and open to traffic. This is the Barrett Road portion of the project. And then this is a picture of the connection over to US 321. So it's kind of a two sections of project, one from Barrett Road over to Gwynn Street, and then this was for the new road from Gwynn Street over to 321. Anderson Cowan Farm intersection. This is over near the City Operations Center in Rock Hill. This was a complete realignment of an intersection. Kind of on the left side of your screen there was the old road that tied into Main Street, kind of at a skewed angle, kind of a scissor type intersection. It was actually on the DOT traffic safety list of projects, so the DOT actually funded the design of this project for us, and Pennies paid for the right-of-way construction. So this is just another view of the project. Again, kind of on the right side, you can see where the old road used to be, and we've realigned it into a single intersection with the traffic signal there. So I rode through it today actually, and this seems to be operating very well.
Patrick, can you go back to the picture right before this one? Of that intersection. The left turn lane as you're coming from the left side of the photo and are heading towards the operations center. Have you had any concerns at all about the alignment of that? There's been a couple of times where I've been through there where it seems like the second left turn lane is not lined up with. It's causing. I've almost witnessed a couple of wrecks, so I just thought I'd point that out while I.
Traffic coming the opposite direction, trying to turn left?
Actually, the ones going straight, not realizing that their lane doesn't line up straight with the one as you're crossing through the intersection.
Going across the intersection. that's the first I've heard of any concerns of that.
I've had a couple of people who called me about that. I thought since I had you here that
Okay,
I'd at
thank
least
you.
mention
Yeah.
it to you.
I will take a look at that. Harvey Road, this was actually a Pennies 4 project to do a shoulder widening. So we didn't add any new lanes. This was just more of a safety project. A narrow road out there, what was existing, I think it was 20 feet wide. We reclaimed the whole road, widened it out to 24 feet, so you have a 2-foot paved shoulder on each side. We had the final walkthrough last week on this project, so it's substantially complete. Still some punch list items that have to come back and do some more seeding in the spring, but for all intents and purposes, it's complete. So some upcoming projects that we have. One is Galleria Boulevard. This is a Pennies 4 project that will extend Galleria Boulevard behind the mall in Rock Hill to tie into Red River Road. We received bids last week on that project. So we'll be coming to you probably on March 15th to award that project to a contractor. Then proceed with getting the contract signed, have a pre-construction meeting with the contractor, and probably May timeframe, probably hope to start moving some dirt out there. US 321 Kings Mountain intersection just outside of York here. I'm hoping that project will go to bid tomorrow or Wednesday, which means we should be able to receive bids the first or second week in March. That'll probably come to you in April to award that bid, with construction starting probably in June. And that's a small enough project where it'll get complete this calendar year, or the intent is for it to get complete this calendar year. And Fort Mill Parkway Spratt intersection is in Fort Mill. This project, we've gotten all of our permits and approval, so this is at the procurement department right now being reviewed, hoping to get this out to bid by the end of this month, which would allow us to open bids in March, come to council, probably the first meeting in May. So you're probably talking June or July to be able to start construction on that project. That's the much needed intersection improvement project. Traffic gets backed up pretty bad at that intersection each morning and evening. So I've talked to you before about Pennies 4 revenue. I just want to give you another update. I've told you before, we were slightly impacted due to COVID-19 last year. As I've mentioned before, the February, March, April, kind of in the heart of the pandemic and when we were quarantined, revenue was down a little over 4% compared to the same time period in 2019. However, with that said, the May, June, July revenue was the largest revenue check we'd ever received, up over 12% from the same time period from the year before. I've had people say, how the heck does that happen? And I was very surprised myself to see it was that big of an increase. We've talked about it. We're thinking maybe the stimulus checks went out around that time. Maybe people were out spending that money. June, restaurants and things started to kind of open back up. So maybe folks were just tired of being stuck inside and wanted to get out and do activities and spend money. Also, North Carolina had much greater restrictions on their residents and their businesses, so maybe those folks were coming down here. Maybe, I don't know exactly what the cause is. Maybe it's a combination of all those, but we were pleasantly surprised to see that. And that leads into August, September, and October was up almost 10% compared to the same time period in 2019. So we are not having any issues from a revenue standpoint wise. We were slightly concerned, obviously, with February, March, and April being down, but the last 2 checks have come in and it has not impacted any of our projects. We are full steam ahead on all the projects. And Chairwoman Cox, to answer your question, we foresee being able to build every single project at this time, with the exception of Neely Road, which y'all are aware of. So we're pleasantly surprised. We're pleased. We're moving forward. Full steam ahead on all of our projects.
That's great.
Thank you, Patrick.
That's very nice.
I did want to give a quick update on the 2 SIB projects, Exit 85 and Exit 82. These were approved by the SIB board for us to get funding for the construction of them. Exit 85 is already an active project with DOT. Spoke with them today, and they are planning to start right-of-way acquisition this summer on that project. Now, this project does include widening Highway 160 to 6 lanes from Highway 21 over to Pleasant Road, which is about a mile stretch. RFATS is funding that project, and York County and the SIB is funding the interchange. So DOT is managing the whole. It's one big project for DOT, but there's multiple funding sources. So they're going to kind of track what we pay for versus what RFATS pays for. but it'll all be built together.
Do we have a time frame on, I know it says the acquisition this summer, but time frame for completion of that?
I believe construction will start, last date I heard was late 22, maybe early 23 to start construction.
Okay. And then roughly a year project or 2 years?
Oh, that'll probably be at least 2 years.
2 years? Thanks.
And, yes, Kevin.
I was gonna say, there will be coming before y'all a budget amendment. The allocation of our local match, we were uncertain about that during the budget time. That check is gonna need to be written sooner rather than later, right, Patrick? So we've already spoken with engineering. You'll see a budget amendment come through. Just wanna make sure you see budget amendment. A lot of questions oftentimes raised, but it's because the local match is needed now, which honestly is a good thing. They're moving along on those projects quicker. Just wanna give you a heads up about that when you see it on the agenda.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. The other project, Exit 82. So I talked with DOT today about this one as well. They will be advertising this project for design this spring. So they hope to get under contract later this year, have a consultant on board and start the design process on that one. So both of them are moving forward. Exit 85 obviously is a good bit further ahead than 82. But they're active and they're moving forward with them. So that kind of ends my summary of a few things, but be happy to jump in and answer other questions or other projects that I didn't discuss this evening.
So, yeah, I had one question. On the Gold Hill 77, timeframe wise, did you say they're running just behind because of the weather, or is that pretty much the dominant factor?
Yeah, so this is a project DOT is managing for us. There's
Right.
some federal funds involved, so they bid it and they manage it. And what we heard was they did grant a time extension based on some utility delays early on in the project. So that bumped it back to, I think, late summer completion of this year.
Okay.
And, with the weather lately, I wouldn't be surprised if that does bleed into the fall. But officially, the completion date, I think, is late summer.
Late summer
Of this year, but don't be surprised if that does bleed into, you can hear the rain now. If that does bleed into the fall.
Yeah, and that was based on utilities. They ran into an issue with the utilities?
Yeah, there was the contract was delayed a little bit because the utilities had to be relocated, so the contractor could do
Gotcha.
their work, and that took a little longer than expected.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Any other questions from council?